Good morning, all. Camelback Trading 2724 coming to you this Wednesday morning, April 15th. And we are looking at the market profile of the SPY ETF here on windotrader. And boy, what a difference a day makes. First off, I want to thank Ray and JJ for interviewing me on their podcast. It was a lot of fun last night. And hopefully you guys get to listen to it. You can check them out at Confessions of a Market Maker. I know they posted it on Twitter. That was a lot of fun, so thanks again to those gentlemen. Now, let's get to what's going on today. So, first off, let's start with, it shows you how irrational M period can be, especially with that 350 algo, right? So on the 13th, we went up and then we gapped high yesterday, even though we didn't make a new high. Yesterday, we went out with a price probe. Price probe is being firmly rejected. So a lot of times with M's price, it has absolutely no reflection on what this market is looking to do going forward. Very important to keep in mind. Now, we're kind of in no man's land here. As you'll see on the chart, when I show you on the daily chart, basically we're going to have an island top, which for those of you who may not know what that is, we gap open yesterday to the upside, and then the next day you gap to the downside, leaving this previous day all alone on an island of its own. The big difference with this one today so far is we're capping into a gap. So you talk about emotional trading, uncertainty. So the big difference is, what do we do here? Do we want to be a buyer because we had the gap from yesterday? Or do we want to be a seller because we have a gap from today? Well, these are all things we're going to have to decide. There's a good chance it's just over an hour to go. The previous day's high was 277.51. We're just above that right now. We're trading at 277.95. So there is a good chance you're going to fill this gap. Now, if you are to do that, again, you're going to have a sizable gap to the upside. Do I want to be a short player right away? And the answer is probably not, because I look for an inventory adjustment. However, with lower value, if we get any kind of rally whatsoever, I would certainly look for a short, because you certainly know you're out, which would be the gap fill. So let's go over destinations and a game plan. So right now, on the upside, I'm going to use yesterday's low of 279.91. That's where the gap would get filled. Then above that, we have the pre-market high, which is 280.97. And then we don't have anything until 284.90, which was yesterday's high. Okay? So again, price is going to be all over the place because the destinations are far and wide apart. For the downside, well, the first one was going to be the price probe, right? Well, that is firmly being rejected. We're almost $7 lower than it. The next one was going to be our afternoon pullback low. That's not going to be happening. If you want, we could use yesterday's low as both sides of the equation, because there's still an hour to go. You never know if we rally. So you can say 279.91. Then we have the pre-market low, which right now, the pre-market low is now below filling the gap. So 277.51, filling the gap. It was a 240-point gap from yesterday. Then right now, a pre-market low of 277.45. Now, if we fill this gap, our next destination, until we get more market-generated information, was 11 wide from this day at 273.47. That's still $4 away. But if buyers don't come into this ball game pretty quick, there's a good chance you're going to go down there. 11 out of 13 wide is a very, very attractive POC. I would think we would trade inside of M's range from that day if we're to fill the gap. But if M's low does not hold, rest assured you're trading at that POC. And then below that, you have the afternoon pullback low of 272.45 from that day. And then below that, you have 274. I'm sorry, not 274. What was the low from this day? I apologize. 271.41, I believe. I think it was 271.41. I wrote it I wrote it down wrong. Let me see where I have it from the other day. Yes, 271.41 would be the next destination. That's the 13th low. And then below that, remember, we had the trend day. Single prints, 270.05, get filled at 269. So a huge turn of events this morning from the previous day. As far as the game plan, again, where we're opening is kind of a tough spot for me, right? Again, you get multiple opportunities throughout a trading day. There's no reason you have to trade at 9:30. It's too big a gap for me to go short, right? Everybody, gap rules apply. Well, gap rules apply with context. And to me, the context is we are now gapping almost $3 lower from the previous day's low. So I would look for an inventory adjustment and then take a short at some point. I don't want to be a buy here either, right? Looks like we're closing the gap. We'll see how we react inside M period. If you get inside M period and hold it and taper off, maybe for a trade, just like I took a short on a gap high yesterday. I said, look, it's not because the market's bad, but I'm looking for an inventory adjustment. Well, the same thing here. I don't think the market's good by any stretch of the imagination, but if we were to trade into M period, hold M periods low, taper off, I would take a call position just for the inventory adjustment. But again, the advantage that people have on my voice channel is there's still just about an hour to go. Once this video's done, a lot of things will change. I will be giving them up-to-the-minute updates at 9:30, what I will be looking to do. Now, let's go to the charts. So, monthly. Remember yesterday I said one day doesn't make a market, but we're above the trend line? Well, right now, we're below the trend line. Sellers aren't going to give that up that easy, right? It took 11 years to get under it. They're not going to give it up so easily. So right now we're down, one time framing down. So again, in the middle of this gap, 278, around that level is going to be very important because that's basically where this trend line is. Okay, so that's a level to keep an eye on again, 278. We're trading at 277.20. Weekly. Now, nothing's really changed yet in the weekly. We're still one time framing up 3 weeks. This would be week 4, right? But we are now trading inside the previous week's range, but we're still healthy, one time framing up. Remember, I said that key level, that 287 level, would be so key if we had gotten to it. Well, we almost got to it, but we did not, right? 284.90. So, but once again, there's still one time framing up in the weekly. Now the daily. After balancing, we got distance on a gap higher. Now we're gapping lower, leave an island top. See if that holds. We'll be back in balance, right? Once you get back into this balance, your ultimate destination is the bottom of it, which is 264.89. Again, we're going to see where the 50-day moving average opens. Once the market opens, it's at around 288.60 right now. So that's going to still be coming down. So right now, early on, I will be waiting for more market-generated information. If we get a counter auction and hold the gap, I will short it. If we get a drive straight down, hold M periods low from that day I just showed you, or the POC from that day, which should be a speed bump, possibly take a long, looking for an inventory adjustment. Good luck trading today. Have a great day, and we'll recap at 4 p.m.